Have you been wanting to improve your health and your eating, but you're struggling with food cravings? Perhaps you find yourself in this situation. You just want the food. You almost feel addicted to it. You get the craving, you want it, you imagine eating it, you feel like you can't control it, and then you grab the food and you eat it, and you just go with it. Perhaps after you do that, you feel bad. You feel guilty. You're like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't feel like this is helping me long term. Why don't I have self control? All that type of stuff. It's easy to get down on yourself. Maybe you're there. Or perhaps you find that you're in this teeter totter where you know you want to change. And so you want to aggressively go after it, but it just feels unrealistic. And no matter how hard you try and how much effort you put in, you can't seem to maintain doing a diet or whatever the plan is, and then you crash and burn and you return to the start of the cycle. If you are in any one of these situations, I really want to help you out and give you a better way of how to relate to your food. And I want to share with you my story to start because I can relate. I've been where you're at. In high school, my food was such a mess. I would eat whatever pretty much I wanted to. Cake, ice cream, pizza, Pop Tarts, whatever. I was just hungry all the time. I would eat it. I wouldn't feel good. I had headaches. I had lots of stomach cramps. And I needed a way out, but I didn't know what to do. And I'm excited because after applying what I'm going to show you today, these problems with food cravings went away. I did not have a problem with them anymore. So today I'm going to show you how to beat your food cravings. And the reason why this matters to you is because you're going to be able to get out of that pendulum swing of going all over the place with your emotions and feeling like you're not doing good enough and getting down on yourself and then really wanting the food. You're going to get out of that whole pendulum, that whole teeter-totter, and you're going to be balanced. And the other great thing is you're going to be able to see what to do. You're going to know that habits that you need to establish. You're going to know what your goals are, and you're going to be able to consistently see success without it feeling like it's so hard. And the real value behind that is that you're going to have the peace of mind knowing that your health is taken care of. There's no more background noise anymore. Plus, you get to see where you're going in terms of your health. It's going to give you confidence, and it'll increase your enthusiasm for other areas of life because you feel that you can tackle those things with excellence. That sounds great, doesn't it? Wouldn't you want to have that? I think everyone would want that, and I want to show you how you can get there. So let's talk about how to do this. Now, there's always going to be two aspects. There's the emotional side, the feeling side, and then there's the method. Today, we're going to focus more on the feelings. How do I get rid of the cravings? So let's get into it. We have to understand this teeter-totter. This is the main point. This is the main reason why people get stuck and they can't get out of it. They feel that they're behind. Maybe they're comparing themselves to someone else. They look at the stage of life and they're in like, oh, why is my health not where it should be? Yada, yada, yada. And then they feel like they need to do something drastic to change the momentum. And so they commit to doing some crazy diet or whatever it is, and they can't sustain it. They fall off. They need relief, and then they feel like a failure. That is the main point. The reason why this is so dangerous is because you constantly feel like a failure. You keep going back and forth, and you destroy any possibility of having long-term success. So how do we get out of this? How do we get out of the teeter-totter? You need realistic expectations. Wherever you are in your life, with your health, your fitness, your food, it took you time to develop the habits that you're already in. Just recognize that. If it took you time to get there, it's going to take you time to get out. You might not want to hear that, but that's the truth. And you need to be at peace with that. So here's a realistic expectation. Develop one habit a month. That's it. One habit. And I know that sounds so small and it doesn't feel like it's enough, but trust me, it is. If you do that, by the end of the year, you will have 12 habits that are firmly established and they're integrated into your specific life and context. They won't be overwhelming. And if you do that, if you have 12 habits a year that you are making, that will naturally lead to whatever goals that you're looking for, weight loss, whatever it is. They will naturally come. They will be a byproduct of doing this consistently. So how do we do this? How do we select the habits and all that type of stuff? So when you're picking a habit, You're going to put it on a 1 to 10 scale. 1 means this is impossible. I can't see myself doing this. 10 means this is so easy. It's fail proof. I can't fail at this. So whenever you pick a habit, you need to mentally assess when you hear it, what does it feel like? And it should always feel like a 9 or a 10. If it's lower, if it's an 8, you have to make it easier. You have to make it so easy. It will feel almost insulting, but this is what it takes to actually establish it. So you're going to pick a habit. I'm going to give you some examples so you can see what this looks like. So there's 2 ways for habits. You can start something new, or you can replace something that you already are doing. So let's say you're starting something new. You're like, I want to have 2 eggs and a whole avocado for breakfast every day. That's a great habit. Cool. I like it. But if it feels like a 5 out of 10, if it feels unreasonable, perhaps you can do something more simple, like just simply eating breakfast, just having something. If that feels like a 9 out of 10, go for it. Let's say you're trying to replace something. You're like, I don't want to eat any fast food anymore. I only want to have homemade meals. That's fantastic. I think that's a great habit. But if it feels unreasonable, if it feels like a 5 out of 10, you could do something that's smaller, like replacing the pop in your fast food meal with milk. Again, that sounds so small. This is literally one of the first habits I established. I remember because I was in a restaurant with my grandpa. I had a pop earlier in the day, and we sat down, and I went to order another pop, and he's like, you don't need another pop. You already had one today. Why don't you have a glass of milk? I decided at that moment to not have pop anymore. I was just going to have milk. And that small habit developed over time, and I haven't drunk pop in years now. But it started with something small and that is seemingly insignificant. So this stuff does work. Even though it's small and it's easy, what you have to understand is you're still going to have resistance to this. You're still emotionally not going to want to do it. And that's okay. But just recognize it. It's not that there's not going to be any resistance, but you will have some. But over time, the resistance will go down. You'll get used to it. And by the end of the month, you'll be fine. Now, here's the thing to understand. We need to have a healthy relationship with our emotions. And I'm going to show you how this works. If you have this and it's in that context of the 1 to 10 scale, you can now listen to your feelings, but now your feelings are about how you can do the habit versus if you're going to do it. Because you know it's reasonable. It's not if you're going to do it. So if you are feeling resistance, now you can think about, okay, how can I do this in a way where it's going to be easier versus should I do this at all? Now you are acknowledging your emotions, but you aren't following them. And that's a healthy place to be. Okay? So let's look at some stats at this so you can get an understanding of why this is so important. 2007 study by Richard Wiseman. 88% of people fail their New Year's resolutions. They're trying to establish a new habit. 88% fail. That is a large number. 2019 study by Strava. Most people quit by the 19th day. They call it the quitter's day. They can't sustain it. Now, there's different stuff about how long it takes to establish a habit. Here's what I really want you to get. Book of Powerless talks about this extensively. If you focus on one habit, you can develop it within a month. Easy. If you try to take on more, then you will crash and burn. But if you focus on one thing, eliminate the distractions, you can establish one habit a month. And over time, that effect will compound and you'll be good to go and golden. Okay, I want you to imagine this. I'm going to use this example of pop again, but you can interpolate it for whatever thing you want to get rid of. You pick one thing. Let's say you pick pop. And you feel free to just focus on that one thing for the month. You don't feel overwhelmed. You don't feel like you had to give up everything. And you get to just focus on one thing. And over the course of the month, you see amazing success. You have completely achieved your goal. You feel excited. You celebrate it. And you feel motivated to try and change the next small thing. Isn't that something that you would want? I think you want that. That's how this can work. You can get that, and that's how you beat your food cravings. I would love to hear what you guys thought of that. You can leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you're thinking about. If you have any questions or something stood out to you.